Down goes Frazier.
Hey, what's up with it, family? It's your boy Hot Boxing Minute. Back at you with that uncut realness. Before we begin anything, hit the like button. It's good for the algorithm. We're trying to build an empire. Help your boy build an empire. Anyways, you know the deal, y'all. Your favorite pharmaceutical engineer, here to talk that boxing talk, that real, that raw, that uncut. The only way I can bring it to you, for those of you that don't know or not familiar with my platform, I pull up to the events as many as I can. I train every day at the gym. I rock with the amateurs. I rock with the pros. But I try to talk about the big boxing new stuff on my YouTube channel when it comes down to making videos for y'all. Anyways, did I mention hit that like button? Big news in the boxing world today. Probably the biggest news announcement was the news about the PBC merger. You know, round of applause for the PBC. They finally made that decision, or at least dropped the announcement. So I'm going to share the screen. I'm going to show you what it looks like on my end. And let's see if we can get it to look like that. There you go. Boom. This was off their Instagram page. We've heard the rumors floating around for a little bit of time now. So essentially, the PBC will be broadcasting all of its future fights in 2024 and for the foreseeable future on Amazon Prime. Over 160 million subscribers. Interesting how now PBC is going to be on a broadcasting platform. Not a broadcast, it is a broadcasting platform, but streaming. So for those of you who are unfamiliar, there is an online boxing culture war between PBC fanatics, I guess they call them cultists, whatever you want to call them, and anti-PBC people. And it's been going on since I got on boxing social media, to be quite honest.
To this day.
And that was Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder, who was a staple on PBC events. I believe he is a free agent now, but this isn't about Deontay Wilder, y'all. This is about the news that the PBC will be linking up with Amazon Prime. So for those of you who don't already know, Showtime will be airing its last official boxing broadcast on December 16th. It will be the fight card out there in Minneapolis, Minnesota, in the Armory, headlined by the Minneapolis, Minnesota guy, David Morrell, based out of Cuba, but a fun super middleweight fighter, 168 pounds. He's going to be fighting Sene Agbeko. My gym mate, Jose Cholet, shameless plug, my gym mate, Jose Cholet, will be opening up on the undercard in his third professional fight. But that is slated to be the last Showtime boxing event for Showtime boxing, period. It's kind of crazy, but that is the last Showtime boxing event. And I think the first one that they ever put on was, if I'm not mistaken, Marvin Hagler versus Alan Minter over 30 years ago. So it's one of those sad things in boxing. And the news that was dropped today was it is official. They will be linking up, as you can see, with Amazon Prime and their 160 million subscriber base. This will not actually be in full effect, or the first broadcast on Amazon Prime of PBC related content or their fighters or their events will not occur until March. So we've got from the end of December, January, February, March, and I'm guessing, as far as I understand it at this present moment, they don't know if there's going to be any other fights going to be airing from the PBC roster of fighters. Now, I do know that fighters I'm normally accustomed to seeing are fighting on club level fight cards that are variously scattered around places. Like, for instance, Mark Magsayo is going to be fighting on a club level event out in Long Beach this weekend, CBN Promotions. Fun little fight card. Georgia Costa, Adelaida La Cobrita Ruiz is going to be fighting on that fight card. So if you're in Long Beach, you want to check it out. Of course, we've also got Regis Prograis fighting Devin Haney out there in the house that Steph Curry built in San Francisco. But I'm not going to talk about those other cards. Either way, yes. I also heard Kavalaskis is going to be on some kind of club fight event. So I don't know how this breaks down. The deal, so far as we know, is they're not going to start airing until March, and it will all be on Amazon Prime. And it's going to be 12 to 14 cards yearly, which doesn't make any sense to me. You need like 20 to 30 cards realistically, especially when you've got a roster as big as what PBC does. PBC has a roster of, if I'm not mistaken, at least 200 fighters, including some of the biggest names in boxing. Gervonta Davis, Canelo Alvarez, you got David Benavidez, the Charlo twins, Errol Spence. I believe Terrence Crawford might still be in a contract with the PBC as far as a rematch with Errol Spence. So there's a lot of stuff that still hasn't been answered yet, and a lot of details we don't already have. All we have is that public announcement that got released by the PBC. Dan Brayfield, he's got an interesting article if you check out his Fight Freaks, I don't know what you call that blog, but that'll give you more of the details on it. But yeah, so we don't know if it's going to be nothing but pay-per-views. We don't know if it's going to be club-level fight events. What happens to Showbox or that, small-level Tuesday night fights type of Fight Club level events? I don't really know. We've been seeing, recently Red Owl, OTX Boxing in Atlanta, obviously Marv Nation with these smaller club events. But what is PBC going to do for their fighters if they're not going to be on those 12 to 14 cards yearly? I don't know. We're going to have to be patient and see how that plays out. So, boxing community, what do you think about the PBC's move to Amazon Prime? Them not starting their first broadcast on that new platform, their streaming service, until March. Let me know in the comment section what you think. What are the possible implications of this? Is it good? Is it bad for the culture of boxing? Personally, me, I'm all for it. For those of y'all that don't know, I'm a constant optimist. You'll rarely find me dissing anything. I don't know, folks. Boxing is an expensive habit to have. I have a business license, and all my expenditures, my transportation to events, tickets, my pay-per-views, shoot, my cell phone bill, it's all tax-deductible write-offs. That doesn't mean it's free, but I've managed to subsidize my addiction to the sport through a business license. So we've all got to figure out our own way to consume boxing. I even make a little bit of profit off it. Woohoo! Anyways, that's the news going down for PBC.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is that why you are here?
So, the other bombshell news that kind of hit the boxing world today, or the rumor mill news, is Subriel. It involves Subriel Matias. Subriel Matias, who has, in his own way, unofficially become the boogeyman of boxing. He is the super lightweight, junior welterweight, 140-pound division IBF world champion from Puerto Rico, Fajardo, Puerto Rico. Subriel Matias recently broke a record held by Vasil Lomachenko. He made his 5th consecutive opponent quit in the middle of a fight. He was fighting Ergashev in a defense, in his first defense of his IBF strap, the one he just recently won in a vacant title fight against Jeremiah Ponce of Argentina. And yeah, Subriel Matias is one scary dude. Rest in peace to Maxim Dadashev. Subriel Matias has already killed a man in the ring. He's got this crazy style where he just dumps and unloads volume. Relentless amounts of volume. It's not like Deontay Wilder or Gervonta Davis where it's a one-hitter quitter that knocks you out and you're just unconscious to the count of 10. He is methodically beating people down, right? So, anyways, news just came to the surface that, of all people, Teofimo Lopez was the one that sent a fight offer to Subriel Matias. And it is in Spanish on here. You can press the translator if you want it to translate. Will it translate for me? Oh, see, translation. There it goes. I know you accepted the perfect fight. Just a detail. Don't pick the date of February. Let's make it happen by the end of March or early April. Let's give the fanatics what it is they want to see. Now, let me see if I can full screen that for you. Can I full screen it? Oh, it is full screen. There it is. So, what can you say? Essentially, Teofimo Lopez solicited an offer to Subriel Matias, a fighter nobody wants to fight. Nobody wants to fight. And my man Nestor Gibbs was the one who kind of broke the news on Twitter, and all the rest of us scrambled and did what kind of research we could. Nestor knows the manager, and the manager broke down the news to him that in his last fight against Ergashev, both of Subriel Matias' hands were injured. His wrist in one hand and his knuckle in the other one. And that is insane to me. That's some soldier stuff.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
No knock to Shakur Stevenson for giving us that snoozer of a fight and blaming it on his injured hand. But Subriel Matias put the beats on Ergashev with 2 injured hands, which kind of shows just how scary a human being Subriel Matias is. That dude is terrifying. Like, for reals. I know we just kind of throw around the boogeyman label, but when you got a guy who is beating people up so bad that the corners are concerned about the health of their fighter because he's already killed a man in the ring, that's some boogeyman stuff. Like, he's kind of earned that, right? So, yeah, Teofimo Lopez solicited the offer. He wants to fight on Super Bowl Sunday, which is like the first week of February, last week of January. Turns out Subriel Matias needs some rehabilitation time for his hands. He said, yeah, I'm down to fight, but let's move it out to, late March, early April, so he can get some time for his hands to heal. And, some people theorize that maybe Teofimo Lopez might have heard that his hands were injured and used that as the moment to solicit an offer. That way, all of us here in boxing media could be talking about it and building up, a reputation for Teofimo, what have you. Teofimo Lopez earlier this week was on the Porter Way podcast. Shout out to the OG Sean Porter. And he said that he was really interested in fighting Terrence Crawford. And a lot of people are like, Terrence Crawford would annihilate Teofimo Lopez. But in my opinion, a fight between Terrence Crawford and Teofimo is far more realistic and far more feasible than is a fight between Terrence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez. I'm just saying. Teofimo Lopez, in an interview with Sean Porter, he even mentioned Roberto Duran. Roberto Duran started off at lightweight, ended up beating Iran Barkley at middleweight. Did you know Roberto Duran was an underdog for every single one of his championship fights that he had won? In that first fight against the Scotsman, the lightweight fight, I forgot what the guy's name was, Ken Buchanan, he was an underdog. In that first fight at welterweight against Sugar Ray Leonard, he was the underdog. In that fight against Davey Boy Moore, he was the underdog. In that fight against Iran the Blade Barkley, he was an underdog. And he ended up winning all those fights. So that's why people love Roberto Duran, although he is also infamously known for his Don Mas moment in that second fight with Sugar Ray Leonard. And he's also known for one of the illest knockouts against Tommy the Hitman Hearns. He got put to sleep nasty. But regardless, I don't subscribe to this new booty boxing regimen or view that just because you lose a fight, you throw away the fighter. That's some new school stuff. You noobs, you new boxing fans, you need to grow out of that mindset. We need to congratulate these warriors for taking these risks, even if they lose. Do not throw these fighters away. They're still feasible. It shouldn't matter how many times they lose. What matters is the quality of their losses. Manny Pacquiao had something like, 6 or 7 losses on his record? And he's one of the most beloved fighters of all time. Then, of course, you got Floyd Mayweather, undefeated. And I don't know if a lot of people theorize that maybe it was Floyd retiring undefeated that contributed to this modern boxing era climate we have where fighters are scared to fight each other because they're just coveting and protecting that but not Teofimo Lopez. He already had that loss against George Kambosos, so that's out the window. So that frees him up to do crazy stuff. And let's keep it real. A lot of people in the boxing establishment thought Josh Taylor was going to beat Teofimo Lopez up. I thought Josh Taylor was going to win that fight. Teofimo Lopez was all over the news and all over boxing media saying all kind of crazy stuff. So, turns out he's slyer than a fox, and he put on the performance of a lifetime against Josh Taylor, as best as I can tell with Teofimo, especially being his career history against the likes of pound-for-pound greats Vasily Lomachenko and Josh Taylor. Teofimo fights up to the level of his opposition. So while he did lose to George Kambosos and had that questionable fight against Campo and who was the Spaniard? I forgot the Spaniard's name. Garcia. He did show against Josh Taylor. If the competition is tough, Teofimo steps up. And Subriel Matias, I don't presume anybody's going to want to fight Subriel Matias anytime soon. You got Devin Haney, who's going to be fighting Regis Prograis. When they discussed the issue, or at least when it was brought up to Bill Haney in an interview I saw, Bill Haney was like, nah, if we win against Regis Prograis, they want to go straight up to 147 to fight one-time Keith Thurman. Hey, I'm down with that idea too, but whenever the issue for any of these top guys at 140 pounds gets mentioned and they bring up Subriel Matias, nobody wants that smoke. And of course, Rolly Romero, the WBA, or is it WBO, WBA, whatever belt he has, champion in recess status that was supposed to be with O'Hara Davies and Ismael Barroso fighting for it. Obviously, Rolly Romero is in no rush. They're trying to get Ryan Garcia and Rolly Romero in the belt fight for that specific belt. So, I'm with it. I'm with it. Give me Teofimo Lopez versus Subriel Matias, April or March of 2024. So far, the rumors of the possible fights to start off early 2024, it looks like we're going to build on the awesome momentum that we had this year in 2023. I'm hoping so, because if we keep having these consecutive years of awesome fight after awesome fight after awesome fight, boxing will be doing amazing. And so I'm optimistic for 2024. But one last thing I wanted to talk about. Hit that like button, by the way, y'all. By the way, what do you think about a possible fight between Teofimo Lopez and Subriel Matias? Let me know in the comments section, y'all. Let's chop this one up. Let me get out of this screen and remove this one and open up the screen. Present, share screen. Just really quickly, the Robeisy Ramirez fight coming up this weekend. I think it is rather slept on. Why? Why does it look like that? Is it sharing? No. It put me in this weird... What is that? Oh, it's an ad. My bad, y'all. Sorry. Minor technical difficulties while I'm trying to figure out how to share the screen with you. I just want to give you the height comparison. So, Robeisy Ramirez is going to be fighting that man, Rafael Espinoza, this weekend on a top-ranked fight card. It looks like it's going to be an interesting fight card, man. They're going to co-feature Xander Zayas fighting Jorge Fortea. It's pretty much a showcase fight card. Bruce Carrington against Jason Sanchez, Richard Torres Jr. I'm more concerned about Jahi Tucker against Francis Verone. Jahi Tucker was already in a tough fight. He got his first loss, and he put him in another tough fight against another undefeated guy. I want to see Jahi Tucker against Xander Zayas, but we'll see how that plays out. Rohan Polanco, Tiger Johnson, but that Robeisy Ramirez versus Rafael Espinoza, that's the card that I find is very, very, very fascinating. So, of course, you got the two-time Olympic gold medalist, or is he two-time Olympic gold medalist? Hold on. Do I got this right? Two-time Olympic. Two times. So, two-time Olympic gold medalist, Robeisy Ramirez. He is currently one of the champions in boxing. He holds the, goodness, let me see if I got it right. Is it the WBA featherweight championship? Hold on a second. WBO. He holds the WBO featherweight strap. He's going up against Rafael Espinoza, who's only fought a small handful of fights in the States. Rafael Espinoza is 6'1", folks. He gets 6'1" size frame and squeezes it down to 126 pounds. He's an orthodox fighter. Of course, we know we've got a technically gifted, brilliant genius, Robeisy Ramirez. He's the reason that Shakur Stevenson did not get a gold medal in the Olympics. So Robeisy Ramirez is no joke. He's got knockout power. He did lose his first professional fight, got it back in blood in a rematch, and has been on a roll ever since. He just got done getting the stoppage against Satoshi Shimizu on the undercard to Stephen Fulton versus Naoya Inoue. Before that, he got the decision win over Isaac Dogbe. He got the stoppage win against Abraham Nava. So he's been on a bit of a tear. I would love to see him in some title unification fights, but he's got this task, Rafael Espinoza, in front of him. Rafael Espinoza is a tough outing. He is trained by Manny Robles. Shout out to my guy, Manny Robles. He is a legit boxing trainer. I was in Guadalajara, Jalisco, Mexico for Canelo's fight against John Ryder this past May. I was in a bar. Oddly enough, Manny Robles pulled up, and it was, needless to say, it was a fun night of drinking and celebrations with my guy Manny Robles. He's a great coach. In the past, he trained Oscar Valdez. He trained Andy Ruiz. He has trained Jesse Magdaleno. He has trained Mick Conlon, and he's been training Rafael Espinoza this whole time too. In fact, Rafael Espinoza has built a boxing gym in the bottom floor of his house out there in Mexico. And there was a time when Jesse Magdaleno and Oscar Valdez and Manny Robles and Rafael Espinoza were all training together at that house in Mexico. So Manny Robles is a legit trainer. This is going to be a fun, scrappy affair. I would not be shocked if Rafael Espinoza pulls off the upset. I'm still favoring Robeisy Ramirez by decision, but you're going to want to watch that fight, folks. You're going to want to watch that fight. Boxing community, what do you think about that fight? For those of you who've watched Rafael Espinoza on those Golden Boy cards, what do you think about Rafael Espinoza against Robeisy Ramirez this weekend on that ESPN fight card? Let me know in the comments section. Let's chop this up. Anyways, y'all, I'm going to end my video on that note. Hit that like button if you haven't already done so. I hope you're already subscribed to Hot Boxing Minute, the future of boxing analysis on YouTube and TikTok. And with that, I'm going to be signing off until the next video, folks. Peace.